Welcome everyone. Today we are going to be learning HTML and CSS. We're going to create this mock bakery with these nav items that have a nice little effect on them. And it has images, it has some text, and it has a contact us, and then another nav down here with another little effect. So with making pages, you can create things either using an integrated development environment or called an IDE, like Visual Studio Code, NetBeans. There's a ton out there. Pretty much Google it, you'll find something. For our purposes and for learning, I would recommend going with what's called a sandbox. And what a sandbox is, it's the little environment that does everything and renders everything, but it's not on your local computer. So you don't have to download anything, you don't have to import anything, it's very easy. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go to CodePen.io, and there's a couple of different sandboxes. There's CodePen, there's Repel IT, there is Code Sandbox, and all of these are sandboxes, but they're all kind of used a little differently. CodePen is mostly for HTML, CSS, JavaScript, web applications. Repel IT is more for like practicing JavaScript, practicing C++, other languages. Code Sandbox is when we get later into into React development and creating larger projects. So with CodePen, we go to the home page. You can sign up, log in. I'm already logged in. And you go to the pen under this create and you say create pen. You don't need Vue, you don't need Flutter, none of that stuff. So this is what you'll come up with. It'll have three little panes. For our purposes, we don't need this JavaScript pane because we're not going to use JavaScript today. So you just have HTML, CSS, and we can title it. So let's say first page, and that'll give us that. And then now we have HTML, CSS, and as you see down here, it's giving us a blank page. And this is pretty much the default of every single web page out there. It is a blank page. It's a document that has nothing. So HTML, CSS are the fundamentals of web pages. HTML is the body, the structure. Pretty much all the data, anything written is in HTML. CSS makes it look pretty. So we are going to start with HTML. And in every web page you want to do, you want to use semantic HTML, which means that for every tag you use, you want it to have a meaning. So what are tags? So let's show you. So here, this is a tag. What it is it has a opening bracket, a closing bracket. You'll put something in here, and then it has another bracket. And as you see, it shows up on our webpage. And then the closing tag is the same thing as the first one, it just has this backslash. So this is an example of a tag. This is what's called a div. And I can show you what is, let's do it like this. Alright. So, alright. So as you can see down here, we have a title here, and we have a title here. Don't mind my terrible drawing, it's freehand, I don't have a pen. So what are these? So this is our H1, and then this is our div. Sorry guys, I'm gonna have to get something for that. So as we can see up here, we have a div, and this is where it's rendering. title. We have an H1 title, and it's rendering here. And as you see, it is below our div, which is how it's in the HTML. So the difference besides the styling here is that H1 means a header. So someone that has a disability or is using a screen reader to access a website. Even though these are the same words, the screen reader is going to pick up differently. For the H1 is considered the highest header. It's considered the title, the main focus, what the page is about. It is, as we like to say, it's semantic. A div, while it has a word, is more of a presentational HTML, which means it's there to kind of help present the web page a certain way. So a screen reader may or may not even pick up words in the div. So with that being said, with semantics, there's a whole bunch of them, and as we work on a web page, we'll kind of go through a little bit of them. And in headers, we have headers from H1 to being the highest to H6 being the lowest. So as you can see, there's a difference in size. They're both bold, but H6 is very small compared to our title. Most of the time when I'm making web pages, I think the lowest I've ever used is an H4. Never really used an H5 or 6. So with that, we've done all of that. So we'll kind of go in, we'll kind of go into creating our web page. So this is what we want. So up here, we have our title is the Sweet Eats Bakery. So we will do our Sweet Eats Bakery here. All right. So we have a title. Nice. But it doesn't look quite like it does over here, does it? And that's because all of this stuff that makes it pretty, that's all CSS. So we'll kind of have a very plain, a very not pretty page until we start going to CSS. So H1 is our title. We have that there. We have this nav bar here. And what is a nav bar? A nav bar is a navigational bar, which means that you click on one of these things, it'll link you to something else, whether a whole new page or part of the website. It's up to the developer. So a lot of times when you do a nav, you'll put it in the header. And if you're using Google Chrome, they do have this pretty cool thing called DevTools. So you'll go up to this view, you'll go to Developer, and you'll go to Developer Tools. And let's go to Elements. So you'll kind of see that over here we have the web page. And as I'm scrolling through it, it's kind of highlighting stuff. So all this stuff is what you'd use in an IDE. So all we need to really worry about is this body. And because of how this web page is used, it's in a div called an app, which isn't what you're going to be if you end up putting it, but it's just how I'm rendering it. So here we have the app, the container. So this is where we're at. This is where we're working at. We're at Sweet Eats Bakery, which is the H1. And then we have a header. And as I highlight, you can kind of see the headers going down. So let's see how far it goes. So going down here, and it stops at cupcakes. So our header is going from here all the way down to here. So this is our header. And why is this the header? So the header causes, if you have a nav bar, if you have an about me, a header is a good spot for it. And for the header, it's just kind of a good spot for any navigational items, any about you, any summary. You don't necessarily have to put this about section in it or the image. This could be a section below the header, but for this purposes, I like keeping it in the header. So header is this tag, and then we are going to close it with the same thing, only with a backslash, and then we'll open. Now you don't have to open it up like this. Like if we end up going back here and putting in a nav here, and then we'll put in a link. So like this. It's still going to render fine, but as a developer, as someone working with code, it's very difficult to read, especially if you have something that's nested inside something else a lot. And putting a component inside another component is what's called nesting. So for this, for the header, we'll have it like this, and we'll line it up. We'll go to the nav, we'll do it in, and you can kind of see that our CodePen does it for us. It gives us this nice little indentation. And what that is just easier to read the code to see what's nested inside. So again, we'll do that. Nav is down there, and then we'll go here. So this is the header. We have a nav button, which is here, and then we have home. So let's see, what else do we got? So we don't even have a home on the page. We have an about, a cookies, cupcakes, catering, contacts. So let's get that going. So I'm just going to copy and paste this 1, 4, 5 times. And then we're going to go in and put in our about, our cookies, our cupcakes, our catering, and then our contacts. All right. And so there we go. We have a nice little header, nav. But as you see, as I'm hovering over it, it's not really doing anything. And that's because even though these A links are links to something, they don't have a link in them yet. So what that means is in order to link the link, you need to reference something. So it's called an href. I'm not sure what the H stands for, but reference, and then you're going to put a hash. And what the hash does is it's a placeholder. So eventually when we have something, we'll put in a word about what it is. But for right now, we're not sure kind of what we're linking it to. And as you can see, down here we have change. So cookies, cupcakes, catering, contact, none of those have links, sources in them, references in them. And they're still black. You can't hover over them. You can't click them. About, look at that. My pointer changes when I go to it. And if I click it, nothing happens, but I can click it, whereas I can't on these. And that's just the difference in using that href. And we will eventually get rid of the lovely blue color and the underline, but for right now, we're just working on HTML. So we'll kind of keep that, save that, okay, good. Kind of keep that how it is, and then we'll come back to it. All right, let's go back to what we're looking at. So we got these taken care of. Haven't styled yet, but we're not worried about that yet. So now we have an image. Okay, so image is still in our header because we haven't hit the cupcakes yet. So, and the nav is up here, and the image is below that. So it's outside the nav, but it's inside the header. So an image tag, we can do it like this, which is fine. But we're not putting anything in between them. So a nice little shortcut is to close itself, which just means you put this backslash before the bracket and it closes itself. So an image always has a source and it's always in quotation marks. These references are always in quotation marks. If they're not, it won't recognize it. And then all images have an alt property. This alt property is for screen readers. It's for accessibility. So whatever your image is of, your alt will be a description or a word of that. So let's see. So we have cupcakes. So we'll put our alt as cupcakes. So now where do we get this image? We can take it off of here if we want. But in web pages, a lot of times images are copyrighted and you don't want to be stealing images from anyone. So there are a lot of things out there that have free stock photos. They're uncopyrighted, free to access. I think I was working with Pexels. Let's see, is this the one I was working with? Yep, okay, so this is the one I was working with. So Pexels, there's Unsplash, there's a whole lot of them. You pretty much Google uncopyrighted images or stock photos, and it'll come up to something. So we'll go down here, and since we're looking for cupcakes, we want a cupcake. We can, since this is our project, even though we're kind of referencing it, like, here's the picture that it had, you don't necessarily have to go with that. Maybe we want something a little different. Maybe, let's see, maybe we want this one. This looks very cute. So we will copy that. And then, okay, so what did I do? So I hovered over the picture I wanted. I'm on a Mac, so I controlled, I guess, right click on Windows and click on it. And then as you see, you can open it in a new tab, a new window. We can save it as, so it'll save to your computer. Can copy the link address, save image as, takes it to your computer, copy image address. So for this, we just need the link address. So we'll copy the link address. It's in our clipboard. We come down here and we paste. And let's see, that did not work. So why didn't that work? So let's do it this way. So click on the link and then let's try this and see if this works. And that should work. Yay, it works. But oh my god, that's huge. That is huge. So let's see, maybe it's just this picture. Let's go to the one that actually was on the webpage. We'll copy the link address. We'll go here. And let's see. Is this any different? Nope, it is still humongous. So why is it humongous? So that again is, this is all CSS. All of making the image small and everything is CSS. When you're copying the link, you're copying it from the page, so however big that page is, HTML is inserting it with that same with height and everything. So here the default is huge. So, but we don't need to worry about that. Again, we're just trying to like bring things over. And then we will go, let's see. All right, and then we have, all right, so it looks like we got a header. And as you can see, this header is definitely smaller than the title. So it's not going to be an H1, but it's still pretty biggish. So I would say an H2 since it's the title of a section or the about. So H2, and it's about Sweet Eats Bakery. And okay, so let's see if that did anything. And it did. And we have our nice little thing guy down there. And let's see. Alright, so we got this paragraph. I'm going to save you guys the hassle of hearing my keys click and just copy and paste it into our next tag. So we have our header, we have images, we have a nav, we have a link. What else is there? So for text and things like this, when you're having paragraphs or lines or something like that, the semantic way to do it is to go with a P tag. And the P tag is short for paragraph, and it just says that there's a paragraph there. So we'll copy that into that. We'll save. And it does save automatically, but as a developer, I tend to oversave just to be on the safe side. And as we see, it's nice and we have our paragraph. So what if this was not a paragraph? What if this was a div? What would that look like? And it looks the same, exactly the same. So the reason why, I mean, you might see web pages out there that have things like this where paragraphs are in divs, but the standard of the industry right now is semantic. To help people who have screen readers who can't really access your site the same. We want everyone to enjoy the website, not just certain people. So the paragraph helps us because even though it looks the same, the screen reader picks it up differently. And it will read the paragraph or tell the user that there's a paragraph here if they would like to read. And with a div, it may not have that. So we want to make sure we're being able to access everyone. All right, so then we're done with our header. Yay, done with the header. All right, so now we are down here. All right, so let's look in our thing. All right, so it looks like we have a section here. We have a section down there. All right, so the cupcakes is its own section here. So we're out of the header. So we'll get out of the header. And in a web page, if you think of it kind of like a newspaper magazine, you'll have areas of topics. All things in a particular topic you want in its own section. So, we can even, even in our header, we probably want this in a section, the about and the paragraph, because it's a section in the header about the bakery. Oh, shortcut is when you want to indent more, highlight it over on Mac, Command, and then your parentheses, brackets. And, the one to the right goes right, one that points left goes left. And that kind of, so then you don't have to do this thing, like trying to tab it that way. It's very easy. A lot of IDEs, a lot of sandboxes implement that. So even though we added a section, nothing's changed. Nothing's changed visually, but it's more accessible now, which is awesome because more people can enjoy it. All right, so let's get a section going for, I believe it's our cupcakes, right? Yep, it's our cupcakes. So, cupcakes, what we got? We got a title, which looks like it's about the same height as the about. So we'll go with H2 again. We have an image, and then we have a paragraph. So let me do this. So we'll do the header paragraph first, and then we'll get the image. So H2, let's spell correctly. All right. So let's see what that did. Okay. We have our title, we have our paragraph, but wait, over here, these are two different lines. But here, it's all one line. What the heck is going on? So, with paragraphs, this implementation is not CSS. This is an HTML thing. So, in a paragraph, you can have multiple sentences. But if you want something that is a different line than the last one, you have to give it its own tag. So I think it's the carrot cake. Yep, carrot cake is the end. So we'll put the ending tag there, and then we'll put the beginning tag here. And okay. And we'll save that. All right, let's see what that gave us. And look, it's now on its separate line. So we want to make sure that if you want something on separate lines, that you use another paragraph tag. Okay, and we don't need that space there. All right, so we have cupcakes, we have the paragraph, and we need the image next. So let's go into our image. We'll close it handily. And then we need a source, not a sec. We need an alt, and this is probably going to be a cupcake again. And our source, let's look here to see if we can find something yummy. Okay, let's use this one because I think it's adorable. So right click, copy link address, going over here, source, and let's see, we should have the first one and we have the second one. Still huge, but that's okay. We will fix that when we get to CSS. So that is that section. So let's go down here. And now we have cookies and celebrations. So cookies, celebrations, and that's, oh, and then we have contact section. So we have 1, 2, 3 more sections. So that needs a closing tag. Alright, so let's do this. Let's just write out our sections right now so then we don't have to do it. So section 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3. Yep, 3. Okay, so we got our sections. Let's break them up. Well, let's just break up the one we're working on so it's easy to find it. Okay, so section here, and it also has an H2. We gotta give it a closing H2, and then it has an image that will close, and then it has a paragraph, and we will pop it out. I think these are cookies. Yep, cookies. Cookies. This needs a source. This needs an alt. Cookies. And then a paragraph. Alright, and as we see, the paragraph is 2 lines. So we are going to be using 2 p tags. So we'll put 1 here, and we'll close that, and then give this an opening 1. And go that in and that in. Take away that space. Alright, let's see what that did. Alright, everything's saved. It shouldn't refresh again. Alright. Oh, okay. So cookies, we have the alt, and then we have the 2 lines. So for the image, if you have it like where you don't have the source, but you have an alt, it's going to give you this little image icon with the name of the cookies. So if you've ever visited a website and you see this with a word or a sentence or something, it just means the image didn't load. And the image didn't load because we haven't given it a source yet. So let's grab some cookies. And we'll use pixels since we're already there. And these look delicious. So we'll grab these. Right click, copy link address. And then we'll go here. So let's just see what that did. And go down here, and yep, we have a huge-tastic image. But it's there, so we're fine. We're happy with it. And we'll close that up there. Okay, so let's see. So oh, we didn't even put this in the section. Alright, cutting, pasting, and now it's in the section. As you see, you don't need the sections because it'll all look the same, but it is helpful for, again, screen readers. Okay, so now we have the next section, which is celebrations, and we will do this. So let's do celebrations. H2 celebrations. Alright, and we have a P and a closing P, and And then we'll copy, we'll paste, and then we'll grab the lines one at a time. So once, oops. And of course, like, I'm copying and pasting because I've already typed this out before to make the page to show you what the end product looks like. But these can be anything you want. It can be something that you're typing out yourself. It can be about you. It can be about your pet. It can really be any words you want. It can be gibberish, and it will render or show up on the page. And then we need an image, right, with a source, an alt, and then a closing tag. And let's just see, for the heck of it, let's just keep a closing tag like all the other ones have. So this is a cake, I believe. Yep, it's a cake. And let's go find a cake. Cake. And let's see. Oh, this is adorable. Let's use this one. So copy link address. Go down here. And we'll paste that. And we got that. Alright, and as you see, we have our celebrations, we have the image, and even though the image has this closing tag on it, it's not any different than the self-closing image. And for me, I'm lazy, so I like to type the least amount to get the same look. So I will always close my image tags and make them self-closing because nothing needs to go between them, so it doesn't need that extra typing. And then we have a contact us. So let's go here, H2, contact us. Okay, contact us. All right, so here, so in the contact us, let's see what that looks like. So we got the contact us, and then we see over here that this is not a paragraph. It's an address. So what's an address? Well, an address is a tag that specifies that this is an address. It's specifying the whole thing as an address. We can just specify this. But if we don't want it all to look the same, we will put it all in one address tag because it is a contact us, a way to get us an address, pretty much. So the screen reader will know it as a way to contact the person. So H2, so we will do an address with a closing because something's going to go between it. And we'll open that baby up. And so then, let's see, what was it? Okay, yum at sweetbakeries.com. All right. And then, okay. And Wonka Drive, Apex, North Carolina, 27539. All right, let's see what that looks like. Oh no. So we have this, but it's all one line. Yet here, it's in multiple lines. Now this is not the same as paragraph tags, where you need a new paragraph tag and you got it. You kind of don't want to do that. You need one address to contact us. So what we do is we use a presentational tag, which is this break. So what, I guess it's just a BR, but in my head I think of it as break, because what does it do? You have the contact us, you have the address, you have the yum, and then look, the yum is on its own thing now. We had a break in the line. So BR, break, you can do, type it all out, but like I said, I'm lazy and I'm just going to self-close them all because you don't need anything between the BRs, the breaks, and then look, it's all on nice little lines. That's awesome. All right, and then we got contact us, but wait, we have this thing down here, which to me looks like a footer. So we are going to have a footer. Now if we wanted to, we could put the footer in its own section, but since it's a footer, it's kind of already differentiating itself as a new section. So let's see, what is that? So we could do an H2, sure, like all the things up here, but it does look smaller to me, and since it's a footer, I feel the importance might be a little bit smaller than the rest of the content. So let's put an H3 in here, and it's just the title of our bakery page. All right, close it, and then what do we got? It looks like we got a nav here. All right, and we already did that up here. So we'll just kind of grab our nav that we already did, because it's the same exact nav. And as of right now, it'll be the exact same. Later when we style, the difference will be styling with the CSS, but for HTML, it's exactly the same content. Now let's see. All right, good. We have a nice little nav. And we also have this little copyright Sweet Eats 2020. All right, so let's go. So it's still in the footer. It's out of the nav. And we'll call it a paragraph tag. All right. And Sweet Eats 2020. Let's see how that looks. All right, Sweet Eats 2020. Nice. It has this little logo here. So with a lot of things, emojis, icons, things of that nature, you can use little cheats in HTML. I guess not really cheats, but like putting in something and then it'll render that. So we can say and copy. So you'll put the word copy. You'll give the ampersand or the and sign followed by the semicolon. If you leave out the semicolon, it's just not, as you see, it changes color. It's rendering the and copy. Oh, I guess it doesn't. It's better. Some browsers won't render it as the little image. CodePen's nice. It will forgive some mistakes, but best to just put it in there in case, browser that you put up to or someone who's using their browser to get to your web page and it doesn't automatically do it for you. And that gives us the Sweet Eats 2020, which is awesome. So that is our HTML. We have all of our data, all of our laid out page, and yet I think it's not quite finished, is it? Because we have all of this that it does not look like that. So in our next video, we will cover the CSS. So wait and watch that video.